For you need to intuitively and instinctively follow your heart and soul. And guess what? It's hard.
This has just been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life. And it's like you've just woken my soul up.
And if you want to create a really good community of care, be the #1 carer in your community.
Thank you so much.
That was unbelievable. I felt that. Didn't you feel it, man?
I did feel it. I did feel that.
Oh my goodness, I wish I was in the same room because I'm a touchy-feely person and I just want to hug you, even though there's COVID.
What the heck is happening right now?
That was powerful. I actually have tears in my eyes. That's how good it was. So thank you.
I just don't understand how you have the ability to do that, dude. Like, people are talking and you're breaking out like charts and segments, and it's so enriching.
Okay. That's okay. That's mind blowing. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. My God.
I loved everything. I am deeply blessed and grateful. My life has forever changed.
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can.
I believe because I can do all things
Absolutely.
through Christ.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, I've just never met anyone like you.
And boom, boom, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Inspiring Insights with Stephen Sede. I'm Peter Clark, Red TV. And of course, let's get right to it. My very special guest, my friend, my guest. This is show. My very good friend from the other side of the pond, all the way into tomorrow, Stephen Sede from Sydney, Australia. How are you?
Good morning from sunny Sydney. Good morning from tomorrow, as I always say. So Thanks to everyone in the green room, and thanks to everyone who's here. Appreciate it, especially to you, Pete.
That's why I appreciate it. It's October 14th here, or 13th. No, let's see, 13th here, 14th there. Don't tell me how it ends.
No, but as I always say, it's coming. So get on with it.
Yeah, let's get on. Hey, that's a great segue. I love that segue. I want to thank everybody for watching on LinkedIn. Of course, we're LinkedIn Live. We're also on YouTube, and we're also on Facebook. And you can find us accordingly by looking up that famous name over there, Stephen Sede. So if you look at that, you'll find the live feeds right there. But thank you for joining us right now. And Stephen, we always like to start off with something really, really cool. Yeah. And let's just jump right to it, my fine friend. Take it away. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen. I'm sorry. Let me bring
That's the next one.
That's the next one. I got excited because it's a great topic. Humanity optimization.
It's cool.
I'm pumped about that. So I'm ready.
We'll get our slides all sorted.
All right,
let's whack it in there. And we're off. Good. Now, the board's always full because these are 2 minutes, what I call tactics. We're going for clarity, confidence, and then some creativity. The 3 pillars of everything I do. Get clear, get confident, and from a clear confidence, create beyond your wildest dreams. This is what I call a mantra optimizer. And I don't know whether to say Z or Z or S. So 2 Americans, 2 Canadians, and Australian. And I have no idea whether I say Z or Z, and Australians use S anyway, so I'm just confused. So 1, 2, 3.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, go. This is about how do you optimize your mantra, but because we've said your mantra in life is the impact you have on others. Every single person that you're going to engage with, you need to not do profiling. You can if you want, but all this stuff about are they a rabbit, are they a fox, is it an ENTJ, and all those wonderful things. But people often ask me, Steve, how do you so almost instantaneously work out how to communicate with people? This is how I do it. So another one of my secrets is out. When you meet people, they're either going to be big picture or very detailed. They're going to be very left brain logically minded, or they're going to be very right brained and creative. If they're very big picture thinkers and they're very creatively minded, they're going to talk in the language of metaphors, not spitting out cliches, but they're going to talk about creating an interplanetary species, and Elon Musk is doing it. They're going to talk about reinventing the phone, and Steve Jobs did it. They're going to stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and talk about I have a dream, and he did it, Dr. King. So people who are big picture and right brain creative talk in the language of metaphors, not cliches, metaphors that they're doing. Stephen Sede, I'm on a mission to destroy doubt. It's something I do every single day. Very big picture, left brain, logically minded people always operate in models. always. Stephen Hawking is an example. People who are very logically minded and very, very detailed are always into case studies, accountants, compliance auditors, those types of people. We start here, 3 months later, there's a percentage increase in growth, et cetera, et cetera. They're very case study orientated. And people who are very right brain, creative and detailed are storytellers. How much creativity and detail do you need to have to write 7 books that make over $1 billion about a little boy called Harry, who sat on a wand, Harry Potter? People who are big picture and creative are impactors of our lives. People who are very big picture and logically minded are informers of our lives. People who are very logically minded and detailed are instructors of our life. And people who are very creative and detailed are infusers of our life. So when I meet people, I'm looking to see, are they talking in big picture language? Are they talking in modeling style language, big picture, or are they using metaphors? If they're talking in logically detailed language, are they talking about kind of structured processes? Or are they actually a storyteller that goes off and starts telling me stories? I instantaneously work out how to speak back to people. And inside the academy, we talk about how you create models to metaphor, story, and case study and instantaneously connect with people. So creativity, 1, 2, 3. ID one person that's in your life that is an impactor, informer, instructor, and infuser, and then apply this model to each one of them, and you'll go, aha, that's how they're doing it. Number 2, which one are you? It's really important to understand which one is you, because if you know who they are and you know who you are, you'll stop storytelling endlessly to someone who's a modeler or a case study. Lastly, what is your mantra? What is the mantra based on your big vision or detailed about your logical creativity? What is your mantra? The Sede mantra is simply this: I'm going to impact the world every day by touching people's hearts, period. And I'm going to do it through clarity, confidence, and creativity, and eradicate doubt in your heart, mind, and soul. Peter?
Gosh, I love the beginning of these shows because we get so much in the first 5 minutes here. So I thank you for that. Let me can I throw something at you real quick? And
go for it.
You normally move on from this. This is a great value add, and I so appreciate you bringing this up. You know what? I've seen something like this be similar that you shared with me personally. And, you know, when you're stuck in the middle, I mean, is it possible to be stuck in the middle? Because I'm telling you now, I struggle with some of that. I don't fit in. I feel I don't fit. I'm very analytical on one side and very creative on the other. So my languaging, to your point, I'm always trying to figure out what the other person's language is and then try to adapt that, because I don't. When you sit in the center is what I'm getting at. I think a lot of people might feel that way. They sit in the center.
Most people sit in the middle because they've got no clarity, and they call it being stuck.
That's me.
So they have no clarity, so they call it being stuck. And then they get an obsession with opinion. This is sounding cynical, but there's people who say to me, I'm all of these. I've probably got more right from the things that I do and the things that people say to me for me to say that I'm all of these. I know how to do all of these because I have to. And for people who have worked with me, people who have come on the show, you, Peter, you know I can do all of these. But fundamentally, I'm a storyteller who sees a big picture. That's fundamentally what I do. But I know how to do all of them, because the quick tip is every single thing that I do, everything in the academy, everything on Inspiring Insights, if I'm talking, and like right now, I've met Damon, but I've not met the others that are on the show. I've had a very quick conversation with them. I typically, if I'm keynote speaking or sending out a video, I have no idea who's watching. I can't work out whoever's watching right now, which they are. But I create models. Have you noticed everything I do is modeled? I create a model and I metaphor off it. I create a model and I story off it. I create a model and I case study off it. And whilst I'm actually case studying off my model, the case study people are getting it. And the story people, guess what? The metaphor people, guess what? A picture paints 1,000 words. So whilst I'm down here talking in the details of this structure to this person and this person is looking at my model and creating 1,000 words of metaphor or 1,000 words of story whilst I'm down here. So if you want to know why I'm constantly drawing out models, is because if I draw a model, you can metaphor, story, and case study into it while I'm visiting any one of these three.
Oh, I love that.
And then people turn around and say, oh, Steve, you get me really quick. No, I don't. If you order a pepperoni pizza, that's what I bring you. Most people are bringing a vegetarian pizza to a meat lover's buffet and wondering why no one's eating it.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah. You know what? I love you for calling out that centerpiece, because you know what? You're right. I maybe for myself, maybe I'm hiding in the middle there a little bit, and I think a lot of us can kind of relate to that.
If you don't know what that is, it's a lack of clarity.
Okay. Well, that was good for the ego right there. Appreciate that. Good way to start the show.
First stage, but the first stage of change is awareness. Second stage of change is having the courage to act.
Oh, yeah.
Third stage of change is to forgive yourself and keep going. There you go.
Love that. Okay, I'm going to just always we start with the people that are tuning in. So, Doug, always appreciate you being here. Judy, you know how I think about you. You already know that. Maddie, good to see you, Maddie. Love to see that. Rashmi, good to see Rash. She says hi to Peter. Of course, she says hi to Peter. Hi to Steven. This is so powerful. The 3 C's are at best. There you go. There's a boom, Judy. Always love the booms. There you go. Maddie says, I think you're a story guy, Peter. Well, I appreciate that. Well, you know, as a musician, I mean, all songs are storytelling, right? A lot of them are storytelling. And, you know, that's why I love music so much, because it takes you on a journey. And anyway, let's jump now. So thanks, everybody, for joining us. That was the whole point of making sure that I put up some of those comments. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right to this, Stephen, and humanity optimization. I mean, 2 big words, and they mean a whole bunch of stuff. But I love the fact that I get to hear now what these slides actually mean, and you take us through this journey. So go ahead, my friend.
Just in terms of the tactic that we've just finished, that come every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Sydney, so morning time North America, they come out every Wednesday, so Tuesday I think that is. Every Monday, the previous week's masterclass comes out. So we take these out of the show and we publish them as masterclasses and tactics every single week. Humanity optimization, everything's about optimization today. Humanity optimization, humanity is defined, we always do definitions, as the collective quality condition of the human race. Optimization is to make useful, effective, wait for it everyone, and as endless as possible. So humanity optimization in Sede is defined as the human condition of effective usefulness. The culture of humanity is what we collectively do daily. Everyone gets so about what's culture, what's culture? It's what we collectively do daily. The culture of yourself is what you do daily. And as a result, what we represent as a society or as a species is determined by that. What you represent as a person is the same thing. So in Sede, we call it your humanity narrative, your human story of effective usefulness. And my point of view today is, let's optimize that. Break through, break free, friends, experience, invest. Here is how you do it in 3 simple steps. Observe life, activities, beliefs, and expressions. Then distill what people know into simple emotional experiences, what most of us call stories. And number 3, stand for something and obsess about it passionately. Obsess about it.
Oh, Stephen, you see that there? Sorry.
It's just frozen, Pete.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Cool. I don't get it, Steve. I get all the words, but I don't get it. What are you talking about? Well, let's do this, and we'll move through these quickly. Let's do a life journey in words, because remember what I said, it's about creating emotional experiences. So here, let's do life's journey in words. Hello. I love you. Will you? Yes. I do. We should. Our love. Be careful. Prom proud. Let go. Hi, beautiful. Our time. Goodbye. I miss you. Our eternity. Simple emotional experiences about what you observe, distill, whole peak, and obsess about in life. Every single one of those slides, every single one of us in some way have experience of ourselves and of others by observing, distilling, and obsessing about things, right down to dad obsessing about his daughter and letting go the hard bit. Simple emotional experiences. So I've got 3 life-defining questions for everyone that you need to optimize. Number 1, in personal narrative, why do I want to be a friend with you? Professional narrative, why do I want to work with you? Commercial narrative, why do I want to buy from you? So as we always do to Sede takeouts to wrap all of this up, question 1, optimize what you represent. But here's my question, what is it? What do you represent? Number 2, optimize what you believe. What is it? And then number 3, the kicker, as we always do, what must change so you can represent what you believe and optimize that?
Wow, 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 wow. Oh my. I just want to jump back real quick. I want to see those again, Stephen, real quick. Personal narrative. Why do I want to be a friend with you? Wow. I mean, how big is that? And then, of course, you know, if we're speaking with people on LinkedIn professionally and so on, you know, why do I want to work with you? And then why do I want to buy from you? I just love those. I think they're so, you know, just relevant in life in general, but especially now that we're trying to communicate to each other mostly through these kinds of mediums right now, where we're not face to face and we're not getting together and doing the things that we used to do in a social setting. We're trying to do it, you know, like this. So all of those questions are really, really powerful. And how do you pull them off when you're, you know, just doing them in a different way? So anyway, I love where you're going with this. Love where you're going with this, my friend. And gosh, like I said, we have 3 great guests coming up. So I want to make sure we get to them as soon as we can. I want to make sure we got some more guests here. Zara, how are ya? Now,
late night in England.
It's after midnight there.
After midnight in England, yep.
Right, and there is Matt, and everyone's chatting amongst themselves. I love all that kind of stuff. Okay, so Stephen, we got 3 amazing guests. Amazing guests today. And I think what I'm going to do, because we're in North America, I'll take you from east to west. I think I'll kind of go in that direction. Just randomly. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do it randomly. So let's just see if we are going to go to Chicago. Do you know where Chicago? You ever been to Chicago?
I've never been to Chicago.
Chicago is
a windy city.
Yeah, I've never been, but I got a ton of people there that I know, and they just keep saying, if I go to Chicago and find out where all the blues is and stuff, I'm never going to leave. That's what they tell me. That's what they tell me. So let me see if we can bring in Justin Breen. How are you, Justin?
Yo, happy Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, wherever we are.
That's right. My friend in the Chicago area. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. You know, for anyone who's joining us, of course, we're on LinkedIn and we're all connected that way. So I always remind people to make sure they check out everybody's profile. So please go check out Justin's profile and so on. But Justin, for anyone who doesn't know you specifically, can you give us a real quick little intro before I throw you to Stephen?
Sure. So I have 2 superpowers. I'm essentially better than anyone in the world at connecting people on a global level and getting people in news at a high level, and I'm useless to society besides that. So that's it.
Well, you just covered the whole gamut. You're like unbelievably irreplaceable one way, and useless. Yeah, I love it. That's
Yep. So I am the opposite of stuck. I know exactly who I am and exactly the type of people I work with. So.
Wow, fantastic. Well, listen, thank you for joining us. I'm going to throw you to Stephen with your question, and thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Hey, buddy, how you doing? Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was interesting watching your intro because 3.5 years ago, before I started my business, I would have thought that sounded like a deranged lunatic talking. And now I'm just like, oh, it's just someone flying the plane who just completely understands it. And I think the same way, totally. So it was beautiful.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everyone's talking about new norms and all those types of things. If we're so good at drilling holes on asteroids, how come we all got so afraid when we couldn't stand next to each other in a supermarket? Right. So because all of a sudden what we got defined by, and I often say to people, if you look at what your corporate structure or what your mission statement, what your processes at work are, how come when you get a phone call about one of your loved ones being in trouble, I always say to people, would you take the processes and structures of your work life and put it into the recovery of your sick child? And I'm still waiting for someone to say, oh God, yeah. So we need to make sure that we actually become the CEOs of our lives and start living your eulogy rather than trading time for money and wondering where it went. But anyway, what are we talking about, buddy? Mr. Superpower.
Whatever you want to talk about, man. I'm all about organic, and I think I'm like you. You meet somebody and you know kind of right away whether they get it or they don't get it. And my tribe is just visionary, abundance, investment mindset people across the world. And
so before when people enter your tribe, what's the journey of them going from what you were 3 years ago thinking that was delusional to where you are now? So what if someone's out there right now and they're going, oh, wow, I wish I had superpower, or, hey, I wish I could draw on a whiteboard, or whatever they might be admiring, if that's the word. If someone's out there right now going, I'm not 100% sure what I should do. Yeah, I'm all of a sudden working from home. How do I redefine and get grounded? And how do I go from what I thought was delusional 3 years ago to now being, oh, that makes sense. What's that person look like? And let's put one or two steps of creativity, clarity, and confidence around it.
Man, that's such a good question, man. So since I started my company, I've talked to thousands of people, and it's finding out about what makes you tick and what you really like about people and what you don't like about people. So it doesn't have to be in person. Get in a virtual room and just talk to people and talk to people and talk to people and talk to people. The reason why my life is successful and why my company is successful, I just do what I like to do and what I'm good at. I know what I'm good at. I know what I like to do. And I think there's people get into trouble because they try to be everything for everyone. My company is 2 superpower genius things for one type of person. Less is more. But that is through testing, constant testing, and learning from other people and talking to them. And I'm just like endlessly curious, like I'm guessing you are, just to find out what makes people tick.
Yep. So Pete, would it be fair to say that the people that you've done life and business with have an insatiable sense of discovery that's powered by curiosity? So anyone out there inspired by Justin and his conversation, if you're feeling a sense of restlessness, the first thing you need to do is attach yourself to a sense of discovery and allow your curiosity to do one thing: ask and stop telling.
Right.
And who do you ask? Ask practitioners. Ask people who are examples of what you admire. Because what most people do is they go and tell someone about their opinion, or they go and get told by someone about opinion. If someone's telling you, let's go back to that situation about your loved ones. How come none of us go running to social media to find out what I should do on the first night I've brought my child home? We don't go and seek the opinion of other people. We go to the practitioner of a midwife. I don't have kids, but I assume this is what it is. The very first thing that you need to do, what is your sense of discovery? And that comes in 2 forms. It comes in agitation, and it comes in the form of faith, not hope. People who are seeking hope are going looking for opinion. People of faith are going to look for practitioners. So if you've got a sense of agitation, have faith in the discovery of you to express your curiosity. And go and ask practitioners and stop telling or being told about opinion. Because I guarantee Justin has never had an interest in being told someone else's opinion who aren't doing what he admires and what he aspires to.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. So I like being the dumbest person in the room. And so between 5 and 10 times every single day, I talk to folks who are running high 6-figure to 10-figure businesses on a global level. And then I just sit there, ask them questions, and listen to what they say. And then if something pings in my brain, I just implement it into my company.
What's the 3 best curiosity questions you've got? Wow, someone out there right now wants to know, how do you get a superpower and be as confident, as bulletproof as you? What are the 3 best curiosity questions?
Entrepreneurs, I'm endlessly curious about where their brains came from. Where did your brain come from? Were your parents entrepreneurs? And what's the toughest thing you've overcome in your life?
So the first one is your origins?
Origin. Origin's the most important thing.
Next one?
Tell me about the toughest thing that you've overcome.
Third one?
Who is the person that you love the most and why? Nobody cares about what you do. They care about who you are. But if they care about who you are, they will care about what you do. And just a little background about me. I was a journalist for 20 years. So I'm endlessly talking to people, endlessly curious. Your skills fascinate me because you can just listen to someone for a second and then you can diagram it I can talk to someone for an hour, 55 minutes are useless. And in 5 minutes, I'll know what a story is and write a 500-word story that media and public can understand. So I can do that endlessly. So you're a very high, incredibly high fact finder filter. It's really interesting.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Everyone out there, because the reason being is I'm absolutely obsessed with destroying people's doubt. I'm just obsessed by it.
That's your passion.
If I'm walking down the street and I see someone sitting on the floor looking doubtful, I'll do something to interrupt it. I'll just do something. So everyone out there who's got this sense of curiosity, because guess what? Every human being is curious, competitive, and compassionate. And unfortunately, compassion is usually triggered when someone flies into a building or all of a sudden something called pandemic comes and compassion goes to the top of the tree. And then when life kicks back in, our curious competitiveness kicks back in. That's why now all of a sudden we've gone to a certain sense of hostility about what's happening because the compassion's gone away.
Yep.
So one of the things in terms of your curiosity, we are born with it, everyone. It's just what comes with it. Your origin is why you started. Why did you start? Why did you have your family? I'm getting emotional, doing it intentionally. Why did you start your family? Why did you go across to that significant other and decide to do life with them? Why did you start your business? Challenge. Why would you not stop? Why do you refuse to stop? Why do you refuse to stop making sure your children are looked after? Why do you refuse to stop the commitment that you've got to make your business success? And what would happen if your love dissipated? What would happen if it evaporated? Because you know what? When love evaporates, you've allowed opinion to take over. I only said yesterday, love creates sentiment. It destroys opinion. I love everybody. I'm in a love affair with every human being on the planet. So anyone's opinion of me is irrelevant because I care for you too much to worry about what you think of me.
Right.
Pete?
Oh, that I love that part of it, and I love the tone of what you're laying down there, Justin. I got to ask you this question. You mentioned in your intro, before we get to our next guest, I need to throw this out. First of all, I love all that, Stephen. So thanks for that. Justin, you said I'm excellent at this thing, and then I'm really terrible at this. What are you really terrible at? I'm just curious of where you think you're terrible at something.
The best test I've ever taken is the Kolbe test, Kolbe. It's the Bible of an international entrepreneurial group I'm in called Strategic Coach. And so it gives you 4 scores. There's no bad scores, but the 4 categories are fact finder. So I'm a high fact finder. The other one is quick start. I'm a high quick start. The third one is follow through. For an entrepreneur, I have incredibly high follow through. It's like a unicorn. Most entrepreneurs have high quick start, no follow through. They're all over the place. That's why they hire a bunch of people. And the fourth one is implementer, working with your hands. I would be a -3 billion. If you ask me to install a light bulb, make a puzzle, I will essentially have a nervous breakdown. So not only do I not do it, I don't even think about doing it. And so I just stay in my lanes. I know what I'm good at. I know what I like to do. And by the way, because you did the 3 C's, my company's 3 C's are content, communication, connection. So I'm all about the 3 C's. So.
Everyone, last one from Justin, inspired by him. Make honesty your armor.
Yes, 100%, man.
Make honesty your armor. My honesty is I'm in a love affair with every human being on the planet. Right. There's nothing you can do to hurt me.
Right.
But when I'm not honest with myself, and boy, does it happens every single day. I'm not always honest with myself. And man, it hurts because the only way you'll truly hurt your soul is when you're not honest with yourself.
Yep.
Peter.
Oh, that is fantastic. Man, Justin, you are a rock star. I love the fact that you throw it down as is. I want that. I'm gonna learn a lot from you today.
Weed out the nonsense, man. Just weed it all out.
I appreciate it. Stick around the green room with you, with us. I appreciate it, and we'll get to our next guest. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. I just love that arm. I love that idea of honesty as the armor, Stephen. I never heard you say that before, or if you did, I'm sorry I missed it. But I just love the concept of that as being, the truthfulness and vulnerable and real is your protective coating. I just love that.
And everyone, in the last 7 weeks, for those of you that have been around the show, on episode 14, I told you that we were at a point of actually going into the next phase of what we're doing around the Sede. For the last 7 weeks, I've been punching myself in the head every single day because I keep missing on what I'm trying to do, because I'm not doing in the way that I want to do it. I'm not being honest with myself by not second guessing. Jane from the Sede Angels, hi girls, always says to me, if you sat down with Stephen Sede, what conversation would he tell you? And I'm now, everyone, start having a conversation with your truth. So I sit down and I get mentored by me. It's pretty brutal. He even gets on a whiteboard. Smart ass, Alec. He even gets on a whiteboard with me. Get true with yourself and start being your own best mentor, and use your mentorship of truth and honesty and courage as the vehicles to get to the next stage of your life.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, sir. Love that. Let me just throw a couple.
Sorry about the rude word. Pardon me.
Hey, listen, we're going to go deeper than that one day soon, just so you know. Zara, yes, setting the clock. I love that. Appreciate that. Ramona, thank you so much for joining us here on LinkedIn. She said she's been watching on YouTube, can't comment, switched over. So glad that you switched over here. Quick little shout out to Justin there. Appreciate that. Lou is here
from the Sede Angels.
There you go. Let's see. I love to see. I wasn't just me. Make honesty your armor. I just love that. And look, Judy, the same thing. I knew it wasn't just me. It couldn't have been just me.
Hey, Lou, can you take a note of that, Lou, in terms of that comment, so I don't forget it? Thank you. Keep going, Pete.
No, she just says here, Judy, she said, I just said goodbye to someone because of honesty. God spoke loudly and plotted my decision. So, sometimes you just got to listen to your heart, make those decisions and use honesty as your armor. I love that, Stephen. That was really cool.
And Judy, just so you know, you didn't actually say goodbye to someone. You gave them the example of honesty. There you go.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful.
Remember what I said. There's three things you have to do in life. Lead me, and I'll be a servant to your leadership. Follow me, and I'll be your servant leader. Or step aside, and I'll be a servant by my example as I pass you by. You never say goodbye to anyone. You just actually serve them by your example as you pass them by.
Wow. I like that one. That just
episode 4 of Street Sessions.
Yeah, we did. I love that. You're rock and rolling tonight, man. I love it. Okay, we're going to keep moving west, and we're coming into my backyard. Believe it or not, here in Canada, we're going Western Canada style, a little away from Chicago, but not all the way over where our third guest is, which is in Utah. But Utah and us we're in the same time zone, so we're pretty close. Anyway, we're going to move here towards Western Canada, and I'm going to bring in Karen Judge. Karen Judge, how are you?
Great.
Hi, her background. Look
what
at
a
that
beautiful
background.
Looks.
I'm put the shame. I know. I gotta up my game now. That's
beautiful.
It's what
Karen
I do.
Judge, good to see you. Now, just for transparency purposes, everybody, I'm familiar with Karen Judge. Okay, so I know Karen Judge, and I just thought it was. We talked about 3 shows ago, Stephen. Just to let you know, she was in the comments, and you said, "Hey, why don't you bring her on the show? And we should get her on the show." And I said. So I made a note of it, and I thought, okay, I'd reach out to her to fulfill the promise. So Karen is in Calgary, Alberta, backyard right here, and she's got a cool little setup down there, as you can see. Thank you for joining us, Karen. I'm going to throw you to Stephen, and away you go.
Wow. Well, Stephen, it's so awesome to meet you. Of course, I love watching when you and Peter do these shows, and you never disappoint. Let me say, my head is so full right now. I already have 4 pages of notes. That's what usually happens to you, because that's what I do. But I just think, talking about even just a question, you really answered my question with your first diagram that you created, because what I do is I have a business. I've been in research of my business for the last 8 years. I transitioned from a business and did a whole career switch just because of I had a personal crisis in my life, and it was a time where in crisis we really realized the health of our mind and where we're at, and it's truth serum. And I realized that I felt like I had a bigger calling. And my bigger calling was really to impact change around mental health. And so started my journey on a new business, researching it, and have spent the last 8 years in complete research and development of studying neuroscience, positive psychology, mental health training, human development, combining it with my own life story. And I did a lot of it for myself because I felt like after crisis, I had every checkbox that I myself could experience some, a mental health challenge, and I had the awareness of it. And I knew that I didn't want to. I wanted to break the cycle. So I went out and I learned basically how to achieve and sustain a healthy and happy mind. And then I now feel like I have a responsibility to share that with the world. And so back in 2019, it was really about execution. And I wanted to execute my business and get louder about it. Of course, started building this 7,500 square foot space, which you can't see, which is behind me. My business is all about offering people experiences, education, products, services, all that elevate the wellness of the mind and connect to the science of happiness. I opened this space just a couple months before COVID. So of course I have a COVID challenge here, but we're figuring that out. But my biggest thing and my biggest challenge is the messaging behind what I do. And I think that your first diagram really answered a lot for me. And I really was entertained by it because I am definitely a big picture person, right brain. And it's so funny that you said metaphor because I'm about to launch my book called Drive Your Happiness. And I happen to use the metaphor of driving a car to teach people about how to build a healthy and happy brain. And my biggest challenge is really about getting this message out there. Mental health is not an easy conversation as much as we're talking about it a lot. It's still very uncomfortable. People don't really understand it. They don't know where to start. There's a lot of stigma to it. There's a lot of isolation. And I just have such a big heart like you. I have huge love and I just care so much. And I really realize, there are answers out there and there are hope. And I want to get these answers out to people. And I do it through proactive wellness. And it's how to get that out there and how to not feel like I have a lump on the side of my head. Because I think a lot of people just glaze over and they don't even know that they're still in like what I call the unconscious incompetence stage. We don't know what we don't know, and we're not taught this in life of how to build a healthy brain. We wait till it's too late and we have our crisis moment. So really that diagram really helped me because it really explained to me of not trying to explain it in a way that makes sense to me, but all the different, that you showed through there. So that was hugely helpful. I love the topic of human optimization, and really where I'm at is how do I optimize my business now and the message that I have.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. And everyone, if I'm writing when you're talking, trust me, I'm listening. Oh boy, am I listening. So I know it might look as if it's rude to do that, but I'm listening. We're going to do clarity, confidence, and creativity. This section will be cut out and sent to you as a separate piece on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch your individual piece again. And then obviously we'll cut all different bits and pieces out. But so to everyone watching, this is actually inspired by Karen. You said your clarity began with research, transition, a switch, a crisis, and a trigger. That's what you said in terms of your journey, and I don't know all the details, but your clarity, everyone, needs to be based on research, transition, switch, crisis, and trigger. And if you think of what Justin said, all of that is curiosity, insatiable curiosity to enable that to happen. So that's the first point. Second point is people don't want to know, and I've said this repeatedly on the show, and it's going to become almost another mantra of mine. People aren't wanting your knowledge, they're craving your expression of confidence. People will follow you into the valley of death, even if they don't understand why they're going. But if you show them this is where you should go, they'll follow. So the very first thing that you need to do based on the research, transition, switch, crisis, and trigger is actually be an expression of your confidence and replace message with example. Because your journey from clarity to confidence is because of my research, transition, switch, crisis, and trigger, that clarity has given me the confidence to express it. I'm not going to message anything to anyone. I'm going to example it. Inspiring insights is not me creating messages. It's me getting you to ask me on-the-spot questions and me just instantaneously helping you. To show off? No, I haven't got time to show off. I've got too much time to make you better. I want you to look in the mirror and love what you see. And I'm on a mission to get everyone to do it, and I need your help. So I'm building an army of people who are so focused on others. So your expression of confidence then becomes your example and it replaces your messaging. And your creativity is based on experiences, positivity, and timing. one of the messaging structures and example structures that you need to create based on this model. Remember what I said about big picture, detailed, left and right? You need to start creating models that take people on the journey from where they're starting to the stagnation of what they're feeling and the stalemate that they're in. And if you can get them to feel confident that they can actually break through with the stigma and the stalemate feeling they've got in their life about the issues, if you can help them with the experience and the positivity and the timing of that by modeling start, stagnate, stigma and stagnate and let's go, that example of your confidence is in the 5-step model of research, transition, switch, crisis and trigger. And I can do that separately with you at another time. But the number one, high level, look at the number one thing you found in each one of those 5 steps. Number 2, make that the foundational confidence of the example. Number 3, your creativity is what experience, positivity and timing, knowing that people have got some type of false start, some type of stigma and some type of stalemate in the issue that you're dealing with. Some people's start might be, well, it's COVID now, so what do I do? Some people's start is the stigma of what they think it is. Shannon was on, I think it was last week's show or the week before, and the stigma about, you know, her belief system of what her relationship choices and her sexuality choices are. There's a stigma and stalemate about it. But guess what? If we ever lived in a time of your example of confidence and your expression of confidence being an open door, everything is up for grabs now. Everything. So if you can be an example of what you stand for through experiences, positivity and timing, people will start, they'll get rid of the stigma, they'll get rid of the stalemates, and they'll start craving you.
Okay, I'm there.
Wow. I love that, Stephen. And you know, Karen, let me ask you something, because in the intro you're talking about this space that you have there, and I just, as soon as I hear the word space, Stephen, we just talked about it at the beginning of the show. You know how we're communicating now today, and how we're spending time communicating online like this. So if you have a space, so Karen, you have a space, you said 7,500 square feet of space. How do you optimize gathering and getting together? Steve, it's almost posing this question to you, Stephen. How can an entrepreneur today take advantage of their physical locations when really we're actually encouraging people to stay away from these physical locations? I'm just curious if we have an answer for that.
No, we do, because this.
Okay.
I'm on the other side of the world talking to people in North America right now. I've got people are giving up sleep to be able to listen to me speak. It's the most humbling experience of my life. I'm standing in an apartment in Sydney. I don't normally live in Sydney. I'm stuck here because of COVID. I've turned the apartment into a studio using hardware and all kinds of different things and expensive lighting, because I've created an environment to be an expression of my confidence. So here's my number one tip for you. If you've got 7,500 square meters and because of the circumstances of where we are in 2020, you can't fill it, stand in the middle of 7,500 square meters and have such an example of the conviction of your expression of confidence, it'll feel like the room's packed. So the very first thing that you do is probably remove away from the physical space of 7,500 and start thinking of what do you do to actually fill someone's space. Because right now I'm standing in an apartment on the other side of the world. I'm into tomorrow, but yet I've got people who are giving up sleep. Thanks, Sarah. Who are giving up sleep, and Katja in the Netherlands, they're giving up sleep on the other side of the world. And guess what? They're not sitting in 7,500 square meters. They're sitting at their kitchen tables. So the number one thing is get away from thinking you need to optimize a physical space in the COVID 2020 world. How do you optimize a virtual space of the sentiment of someone else's soul, their heart, their mind, by giving them a 5-step process of how to get out of the stigma of, I've got 7,500 square meters, what do I do with it? I only saw Tony Robbins recently. He's got this monstrous big screen and he's doing his seminars with this arch screen. I don't know, it's ridiculously big, but it's him. So he's now surrounding himself with all of these images of people. So the number one thing to do is if you've got a space, for the rest of your life, fill the space of someone's heart, soul, and mind and stop thinking about it in the context of bricks and mortar. And in the goodness of time, when the 7,500 square meters, please God, please universe, allows us to get back together and do what we humans do best, cluster, embrace, nurture, learn, encourage, you'll be ready. A space is not defined by the size of your bricks and mortar. A space is defined by your courage to commit, your courage to embrace, and your courage to be an example in the face of failure, and fail in front of everyone on the street of life until you learn how you can help them, because that's exactly what I've done. Peter?
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, Karen, I hope you got that.
I totally get it, and I totally agree. Yeah, sure, I do. I totally get that. Yeah.
I love that.
There's some mechanics of how you can do it. There's some mechanics of how you can do it, and the mechanics of how you do it is in the framework of how you've arrived where you are.
I'm there.
Fantastic.
I'm there. I love it.
Okay, Karen Judge, you stay with us in the green if you can. And thank you for that question. It was fantastic. And Stephen, I love what you said there about this idea of space. I brought that up because I think we're all there's a lot of people that I talk to, on LinkedIn and just in life in general, people who have physical businesses, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle because we're encouraging people to stay away from their physical spaces, and they attach what they do with their physical space. Sometimes you can't avoid that, but I just thought it was interesting that
I read this on the BBC yesterday that Singapore Airlines have got A380s parked in Changi Airport. I think it's Changi, but they've got A380s parked somewhere. There's a whole bunch of planes sitting in the middle of Australia and Alice Springs just sitting there. But what Singapore Airlines, think outside of the box. Singapore Airlines are now allowing half the capacity of the plane to come on and have a meal sitting in first class business or economy, and they're selling out. The plane's not going anywhere, but you can go to the airport, walk on, get on the plane, have a meal, and get back off. And you'd think that's crazy, but they're making money. It's selling out.
Right.
So if you ever wanted to know what it's like to sit in first class and have a meal, you can now. You're not going to fly anywhere, but they're sitting there thinking, we've got this space called an aircraft. We're not going to switch it on. We're just going to allow people to come and experience what they probably won't if it took off.
Right.
Think outside the box.
They're actually doing, there's some airlines like Qantas, I think, is doing it. I think they're doing these, they're calling them flights to nowhere. And they actually, you get on the flight, you fly around, your general area, the country, wherever you are.
They've, instead of going on a helicopter sightseeing, you're now on an A380.
Right.
And the irony is, in the context of how do I fill my space, where everyone's going online. I mean, Amazon is a classic example. So it's a matter of how do I apply what is my expression of confidence to the value I'm going to provide someone, how do I distribute it to them, as opposed to what do I do with my open floor? People are only going to come to your premises if they want something. How do you get what they want without them leaving home? Because right now, Zara and Katja are giving up sleep on the other side of the world in the middle of the night because they want what Peter and I provide, and I'm honoured that they do. Over to you, buddy.
I appreciate that. Hey, let's just throw up a couple. Trevor Reed, greetings from Western Australia. Always appreciate that. Love the comment about honesty is an expensive gift. Yeah, thank you for giving it. So I appreciate that. That's a great comment. And I serve someone too by example, and I pass them by. Sorry, I took your comment. I love it. Fantastic. Yeah, well, sometimes you just, you have to pass on by. It's as simple as that. Hey, I love that, Steve. That's great. Okay, let's bring in our third very super patient, good-looking young fella in a different part of the country now, a little south of me, but we're in sort of Midwestern. We're Western United States. We're in Utah. I think it's Salt Lake City. I should look up all these things. Last week we had the map out, which helped me a lot. But I'm pretty good with my geography in the United States, so I know where this guy is. So let's just see if we can make sure. Let me just get everything rocking and rolling here and see if my good friend Damon is there. Damon, how are you? Oh, I haven't got your mic. Mike.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. I went and had to yell at my dog before we came in here, and I hit mute and forgot to turn it off.
Hey, love dogs. Listen, if dogs can steal shows, don't never work with kids or
I think I have a package or something because he was barking. Hey, can I reinforce Justin's superpower? So him and I have just recently met. Same day him and I chatted, I introduced him to Stephen. And what he was talking about is he finds these common denominators among successful people. And so he was saying, what some of the, a lot of them have kids, a lot of them are married, this and this and this. And he says, what about your wife? A lot of these people I talk to, their spouses are either teachers or nurses. And he says, what is your wife? And I said, well, we're fortunate enough she gets to stay at home. And he goes, what if she wasn't at home? What would she be? And I'm like,
damn it, a nurse.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
It is. That is interesting. Well, listen, we super appreciate you being here. And again, everyone, make sure you check out all of these names on LinkedIn. So go see Damon's LinkedIn profile. Damon, very quickly, generally speaking, just for anyone who doesn't know who you are, if you tell people what do you do, what you do?
So I founded a SEO agency, a search engine marketing agency 14 years ago. So I stay in my lane just like Justin, and I'm not the paid ads guy. I'm not the PPC social media guy. I'm just the search engine marketing guy. And, Stephen and I met through, kind of like he says, through honesty, through LinkedIn. And I get on and do a lot of these vulnerable posts and just give away the answers and don't send people to landing page and don't send them to email lists. And I just help where I can help. And then it's the whole abundance mindset thing. And it just attracts your ideal buyers through that process.
Wow. Love that. Love that. Well, thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to throw you to Stephen with your question.
Yeah. So,
hey, buddy.
Hey, Stephen, good chat. So you said earlier you're obsessed with destroying doubt, and that was kind of a good opportunity for me to ask you about something that's I've realized more recently. So I find myself always being a forward mover. If I have a goal that comes to mind, I say, how do I get there, and reverse engineer it, and then I just go. And not until recently, it's not that I thought that was unique, but I've realized more so that the world is the opposite of that. And so I've had to become more knowingly empathetic to that. And so it's fascinating to me, why do so many people have internal fears and doubts, and why is the majority of the world in this space of self-doubt?
Because most people have outsourced their identity to someone else's opinion. Social media has given us the ability to instantaneously validate myself. So two things that come to mind just from what you said, and then I'll come up with something in a second. Unique is you, useful is craved. And useful, in another word, is confident example. One of the reasons both Justin and yourself stand out is from the point of view of you're an example of what people crave. And guess what? Both of you stay in your lane. Both of you decide your superpowers. So as far as that's concerned, the uniqueness is you, useful is craved. Now, if we have 100-year life, we'll do this real quick, and people have seen me do this before. If the first 50 years of your life, from the moment you're born to the moment you get to 50, all your life is about accumulation. You get a life, you get a schooling, you get friends, you get your first girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other, you get a house, blah, 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 all those types of things. Your kids grow up. By about 50, your life changes. So the second 50 years of your life is about significance. But from the moment you're born to the moment you die, either through accumulation or significance, you're trying to validate your existence. And today, most people, V in most people's words today is opinion in the form of likes, comments, shares, views, testimonials, recommendations. Their addiction to getting someone else to define what they are and validate themselves because of it. And the ego absolutely loves it, because as soon as your ego takes over your existence, you've just doomed yourself to a life of failure. And that's why a couple of episodes ago we talked about the 5 regrets of the dying. And the 5 regrets of the dying are people who have actually outsourced their identity to opinion. So I want to go. Go on, buddy.
Yeah, go one step further. Why do we even get to that point, though? Why it sounds like there's something even seated beneath that to cause the necessity to have validation.
I did this a couple of shows back. Human beings, there's 9 behavioral engagements I call about them. Human beings are herd animals. We live in patterns, and success and failure leaves clues. I'll just say clues. Herd animals, we lived in caves, city, and now we live in virtual communities, and we've done it all the time. So when people are going, oh, you won't believe it, we're sitting around with iPads and scribbling on iPads in condos. We were sitting around in caves, scribbling on cave walls. The first Instagram's on a cave wall 40, 50,000 years ago. So instead of scribbling on an iPad in a condo, we used to scribble on a cave wall. It's no different. We're herd animals. We live based on our culture, our condition, and our circumstances. And our failure is on the basis of not speaking up, hesitating to act, and our addiction to opinion. Why? Because if I actually forget about my addiction to what other people think, I speak up, I don't hesitate, I don't care about my community, my culture, and my circumstances, I'm actually going to basically create my own world called me. Most people won't do it because if I'm addicted to not speaking up, to hesitating because I want to fit into my culture, condition, and circumstances because my virtual group may not like it, if I turn around and say these words to you, I don't care what you think of me, but I sure do care with what you think of you, and I dedicate my every breath to making sure you wake up and look in the mirror and love what you see. I don't care what you think of me because I'm too busy caring how much you think of you. Cool. And that becomes the platform of what you and Justin call superpower. And then you call it swimming in your lane. The reality is, if there's 1 billion people online at any one time, and I did this with some numbers on Gary Vaynerchuk once, and I actually thought, okay, Vaynerchuk puts out a video and 60 squillion billion people watch. And I think it was 0.00008% of people online at any one time were watching his 330,000 views in the space of about 3 hours. And I asked myself, little old Stevie, what would happen if little old Stevie put a video out and 0.1% of everyone online actioned it? I'd be in trouble. So what Peter Clark once said to me was really, really simple. Great thing Peter said. Steve, find 1,000 people. Find 1,000 people that will almost find a way to love and live loyalty the way you love and live loyal to them. And that'll change and define the rest of your life. So I put out, like, for example, the last few weeks, we've been so focused on doing what we're doing, some of the stuff you're aware of from other conversations, that my viewships on things have gone down to the floor because my attitude right now is this is what I'm focused on doing, and I'll get to the actual views and the activity. But right now, this is what I'm doing, building a platform. So one of the things, and this is from Bob Iger, said this. So from that point of view, who are your 1,000? What do they look like? Who are the people you'd want to be friends with? Who are the people you'd want to do business with? Who are the people you want to have you buy from? Because what he said when he was the CEO, he was bidding to be the CEO of Disney. He said he did 3 strategic things to pitch for the job over 9 months. The first thing, he created high value content that represented the essence of the Disney brand. The second thing is he created a technology platform that he could distribute it on. And the third thing that he did was created a global reach. Everything else was eradicated. Everything else was eradicated. And that high value content was Marvel Comics, 21st Century, Lucasfilms, Marvel Studios, and then the technology platforms that they built to stream all of that stuff on, and then the global reach, which included all the stuff around the Disney properties and Disney hotels. So your 1,000 people, you need to focus on what is the 1,000 people that you want to build a relationship which is so profound in its profit that the wealth will generate the riches based on the high value content of the technology platform and the global reach that you have. And bear in mind, 98% of people are addicted to pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. It's the reason Friday night's the highlight of the week.
Let me have you take it a step further on the 1,000 people, because sure. More specifically on the business angle. So, with the types of businesses that I work with, they're all across the board, right? There's professional sports teams, there's international real estate companies, there's Inc. 5000 groups, businesses featured on TV shows, blah, 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 blah. So they're just everywhere. I mean, I have a lumber yard, I have an attorney that specializes in narcissistic relationships, I have technology clients. So the problem that I have is, okay, how do I find the 1,000 people? Because we've grown substantially just by referrals, because not only do we say what are the advantages of what we do, but also here's the disadvantages. So just like we talk, just transparency. And I have people come to me all the time and say, well, who's your buyer persona? And I'm like, I don't know. So if I wanted to amplify what I'm already doing that's proven to be successful, how do I even find the 1,000 people? Because I know there's a common denominator with the buyer, but I don't know what that is because there's no common denominator in their industries.
Yeah, but you're thinking of the individual.
Yeah, well, I am, because that's who I want to figure out who to more fine tune my message.
But if you come to the board, Peter, diversity. You said diversity in the context of the 1,000 people or your client base. My number one question for you is, why have you got such a diverse client base? What are you doing that's creating such diversity? Because aren't you the SEO guy for the small business owner who wants to improve their bottom line, or aren't you the SEO guy for the real estate developer who wants to build whatever? Why are you creating diversity in your market space? What are you doing? Because at the moment, if this is growing, my question to you is, why are you creating diversity? Number two, what, and it sounds like it's the old marketing stuff, but it's another way of, it's the same approach. What are they coming to you for? And why is what you're doing? What is the outcome they're getting? Example is why they're sticking. Forget about persona. Forget about it. Forget about it. Why, if you're growing, because if you had nothing happening, and I know you do, because I think it's a superstar stuff that you do, your diversity is created a whole pile of growth. What's the commons in your growth of diversity? What are you doing that's creating diversity? What outcome are that diverse group getting? And what's the example of why they're sticking? Because I've seen the loyalty of your team in that beautiful message from the Philippines that they sent you about your birthday, and I've seen some of the recommendations. And the other thing is, they're not testimonials about what you've done, Damon. They're impact statements on what you've done for them. So number one, what are you doing that's creating diversity? What's the outcome that's coming from the diversity? And why are they sticking? Because of the diversity. Because at the moment you're trying to think, how do I re-engineer to a persona? You don't. What are you doing? Outcome and stickability. Why?
Not necessarily. I don't want to fix what's not broken. I don't want to reverse engineer this. I want to amplify it.
Then you amplify. Speak louder of that. Speak louder of that. Speak louder of that. So, why is it that I'm interested in talking to you in the next week about what we're doing with the Sede? Not because of these things. Because of, here's mine, because of the inherent focus that you have on a commitment to people, because of some of the personal drivers of what you want to do for people, and because of the actual consistency with which you deliver what you do with authenticity. It's real dealing with you, competing with everyone else who says SEO and then you switch off. It's like everyone who goes, I'm a life coach, NLP, oh my God. Nothing wrong with it, but you're not leading with your humanity. Yeah. You lead with your humanity, which is the first reason. The reason I'm interested in talking further with you about our stuff is because of the nature of what you represent every single time you post. So what I would do if we were doing work together in this context of my stuff, or my stuff to you, and instead of what you might do for me, I want to know what you're doing that's creating diversity. I want to know what you're creating, what outcome you're creating that's creating diversity, and why these people love you to bits and are so loyal to you. Amplify the answer to those three questions. That's what the game is. I got told, Steve, no one will believe you can do what you do on a whiteboard as fast as you do. From one of the Sede guests in Miami, you need to do one-to-ones in front of many. And then Peter asked me to do an interview on one of his LinkedIn linked ups. And I said that line to Peter and he goes, yeah, we should. 18 shows later, inspiring insights. What is it? Me doing one-to-ones in front of many. Because that's what they told me. This is what you do, Steve. No one will believe it, so go do it. What's the answer to those three, and amplify that?
Well, I can answer 2 and 3. The number 1 is the wild card, though. So, can you bring that whiteboard up a little bit more so I can see it? So the what? Yeah, no, you're good. You got it now. Peter brought it up. So the what is, I actually deliver on what they expect. So they come for online marketing, and I make online marketing happen. And I have consistent follow through. And as you kind of touched on, it's not just to get them, take their money and run. Like, I will say no if I don't feel like I can bring them results. So then why they stick is because it happens. I hold their hand along the journey and I say, here's what's next. And I set expectations. But the why in the beginning, being that it's almost all referrals, is 2 and 3 is what drives the people to refer to number one, but I don't have so maybe this is a more simplistic way of approaching what my question is. I know how to bring what I bring to people when I get in touch with them, but let's say I want to meet more of those people that I know I can help, and we just boil this down to me just wanting to connect with new people on LinkedIn or whatever. So because I can profile and find a target audience based on what I can do in number 2 and 3, I don't know though who to reach out to and engage to say, hey, like, I'm not the snake oil salesman SEO guy. I can bring you results, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, super cool. I'm glad to connect either way.
You said most of your growth is coming from referral. First exercise for me would pick out 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever number you want, and ask them, what is the impact I've had on your business? And not from the context of bottom line increase. What is the impact your association with me has been? And put it into 3 categories: on a personal level, on a professional level, at an optimization level. Ask them those 3 questions and see what they ask you. The words that they use is the words that, you know this, the words that they use are the words that you can go start seeking other people that are using it.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is, if your referral base is strong, how many people would, from my point of view, is I would love, with Justin, for example, as soon as you told me to introduce me to Justin, less than half an hour later, I asked him to speak the next day. On that 15-minute call the next day before he dashed off to lunch or dinner with his kids, how I organised for him to join you on the show. So Justin joins you on the show today, and I've only known him less than a week, because I wanted Justin to hang out with you on the show, and you don't even know each other, except the commonality of why you want to refer each other. What is the commons around why people are referring? So find 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever the number is, and ask them, what's my impact on you personally, my impact on your business professionally, my impact on how your confidence is in terms of what you do? And use the word impact, because you don't want them to write back going, oh, you're really good at SEO. You're really good at it. What is the impact on Steve in your life? If I hang around with you for 5 minutes, I'm going to change your life, period. That's it. So that's, if you want to amplify why others are saying such good things about you. And if you think of Justin, there's a definitiveness of purpose of what he believes in. Most people would think you're arrogant to say superhero. He says it with such empathy and sincerity that what would sound like an arrogant comment comes across as, can I have some?
Yeah.
Can I have some? So the number one thing, what is my impact on you personally, professionally, and what impact have I had on you? And those 3 questions with language correctly will start giving you, and what it will do is open the door of you actually being able to expand the referral program, and then all the fancy stuff you can do with referral programs. Deciding Soul Shifters is a community of getting people to ask who wants to be part of Soul Shifters. So this Saturday, everyone, I'm going to get on the call, no whiteboards, no nothing, and for an hour or so, people can hang out and have coffee with me. It's no question and answer. It's just hanging out. Why? Because Michelle and Sarah Rashmi have all said, oh, it was lovely, we did that, Steve, can we have coffee again? So I'm just going to let people hang out with us.
Yeah.
It's not a free coaching session. There's no whiteboards. It's just me with a cup of coffee hanging out. Why? Because I want to nurture the environment of why people want to be together. Why are people referring you, Damon? You're a freaking nice guy. It's why I'm interested in working out how we do some stuff. And you know what? The world is craving for people who are really nice guys. An example of the expression of the humanity of what's true. How many people want to buy a pet project of a little cabin on the lake so they can do it with their kids? It's a beautiful story. So my advice would be, do that exercise of asking and then amplify the answers.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, because I just need my foot in the door on what path to take, and I can take it from there. So that's a good start.
I just think you need, this is me going off on one, you need to acknowledge how good you are. Not at SEO, because you're freaking awesome at it, how good you are at being present in someone's life. It's just, we had that call ages ago, 2-3 months ago. It was just enjoyable being in your company.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you know about SEO, but we spent 90% of that 45-minute call doing nothing else except, I get this guy. I know he's good. I don't need to be sold on his goodness. I don't need to be sold on his ability. I need to be sold on his goodness.
I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Damon, so relate to some of that stuff you said. And only for time purposes for the show, I can't get into right now, but I do relate to the idea of there's something I wanted to say to you. That's an inside joke for freezing everybody. But Damon, the point is, maybe we'll chat about this another time.
Yeah.
I struggle with that as a content creator, that I could literally have as one customer a national airline, and someone over here is an auto mechanic, and you're like, how did that happen? How did I work with why is that happening? So
exactly.
Now hold that thought if you can. Go ahead, Stephen. Sorry,
just one sec.
Yeah.
Whether they're an auto mechanic, whether they're an online coach, whether they're SEO, whether they're a musician, whether they're a janitor, whether they're a CEO, have you noticed how their behavior changes to a common element of the compassion of wanting to make sure that what's important in those life experiences that I put out in the masterclass? Have you noticed that when a trigger happens, our compassion is driven by the same thing, whether you're Chinese, Japanese, American, Australian, Kiwi, whatever? Humanity is the common element of what makes everyone the same. And when you behave with a level of humanity that you've got, Damon, you will amplify your business. And it's time, because people don't want to optimize their website. They want to optimize themselves, and the website will come with them.
Yeah.
Boom.
And you can do it because it's the only reason I'm interested in talking to you.
Fantastic.
But what about my beard?
That's another show, Damon. Hold that thought. Yeah. I'm going to bring everyone back in.
Peter wants me to go fast. I can't talk about your business. I'll get in trouble.
Facial hair, SEO friendly. Anyway, we'll talk about that another day. I want to bring everyone back in because this is pretty much my favorite part of the show. If everyone doesn't know that, I just make that sentence straight out because, when you're listening to other people talk, you might hear something that that resonated with you, or maybe you had time to do on something that Stephen said to you. So I'd like to just do a quick little one around the table here of aha that it might have showed up today. So let's go back in order here. Justin, thank you for sticking around. Super appreciate your insights, and I get what everyone's resonating with you is like, he just says, this is what I'm good at. This is what I suck at, and everything else, just leave me alone. I'm like, that is so cool. Yeah, so I applaud you for that. Maybe an aha from today's show, either with yourself or maybe something you heard from the other guests.
So one, Damon's a 9 fact finder, so he's just going to keep asking you the same questions because he's endlessly curious and wants to know facts. So
give me the answer.
So also. Stephen, you hit it on the head. People with the wrong mindset think I come off as arrogant. It's actually the exact opposite of arrogance. It's extreme confidence, and arrogant people think they're great at everything. I'm actually terrible at almost everything. So it's the exact opposite of arrogance.
Wow. I just, listen, that is so raw that it's just rubbing me, and I don't even know what to do with it. It's just...
I wanted to kind of bring up that too, so I'll kind of elaborate on that as well. So Justin's comment, I find that interesting too, because I find myself a little bit in the middle of, Justin's confidence, but also being empathetic to knowing that there's nothing wrong with that confidence, but I know it rubs people wrong the other way. And so, maybe this is an opportunity for Stephen to elaborate, but I agree with everything that Stephen said about you need to have the inner confidence and care more about people than their opinion of you. But what happens when you make those decisions to no longer engage with people because they're toxic? I made a post about this the other day, and it's not that it's you're not being rude or arrogant, but it's self-care. Yep. But people don't realize that, and so now Justin's a jerk to them. And so maybe this is something you could briefly elaborate on, or maybe another episode, Stephen, is kind of what people need to prepare, because that just comes with the territory. Like, I've probably lost more people by giving them honest feedback because I wanted them to grow from what I provided them, that they're like, you're an ass, and then the relationship's over. But it was brought from.
Can I answer that, Peter?
Great insight. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick example. I was in Western Australia. Not that I'm based there, but when life was, we could move around. I'd come back from Asia. I was in Western Australia. I had actually arranged to come to Sydney for a weekend to do some filming with a Sede guest. I flew across the country, and as I landed, I said, "Hey, I'm here. Looking forward to catching up." Had a guy organised to pick me up and take me straight to their house and smash it out. Done. By the time I got to the baggage counter, they said that they changed their mind and they felt really nervous about doing it. I didn't see them, and I flew back on Sunday. They then went on, and I was inside of a group. They then went on and blocked me inside the group. So I got blocked. So I flew across the country to help them. And then they got nervous about actually presenting themselves on film. So instead of dialoguing with me about it, they just blocked me. Because now all of a sudden, the guy that flew across the country was, and I, at my expense, by the way, was the backside. So the end result is the first thing I did is I asked myself, did I do anything that was disrespectful to their integrity? Whether I think they've got a high level of integrity or not, no. So therefore, did I compromise my integrity? No. Am I prepared to forgive what they're going to do? Yes. Am I going to forget the lesson I learned? No. Move on.
Yep.
Because if you stand up and have success, people are going to criticize you. Because in this environment, everyone loves the way Justin talks. A lot of people are going to hate the way he talks about that because they're too busy trying to find their superpower in someone else's opinion. And here's the thing. If everyone's focused on everyone else's opinion, whoever stops long enough to give you theirs?
100%. That's exactly it.
I need to carry a separate mic here to drop them every now and then.
But seriously, everyone's so focused on everyone else's opinion, no one stops long enough. My only opinion of you is, do you look in the mirror and love what you see? That's it. And if I've helped you to do that in some infinitesimal way, my job's done. And if you don't like it, that's cool. But you know what? I won't fly across the country again.
Yeah.
But I forgive, but never forget. Because every time you walk around with life with your clenched fist, all you're going to do is do it at the dinner table in front of your kids, and they don't deserve it. And you might be doing it subliminally.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And I don't have kids, so that's said respectfully to parents.
Leave it to the SEO guy to expand the show to a whole other show.
Yeah.
Right? Just kidding. Listen, I love that question. And, Stephen, we need to expand on that because there's so much meat in there. But let me just jump to you if everyone would follow me on this. Karen Judge, thank you for sticking around. Super appreciate it. Love what you're doing as well. Maybe a little aha from today's show, either your conversation with Stephen or maybe from one of the guests you heard.
Well, there was just lots of great information here, and I think there were lots of ahas. But I think the one thing that I'm going to take away from this, and it's a great reminder, and I just think that it's so much about what I stand for, is that, as Stephen said, it doesn't matter if it's a physical space or it's online. It's all about filling people's space, meaning filling their hearts. And it's so much about what I want to deliver through my business. And it's something that I'm really going to take away and keep in mind of that really is the top priority, really. So that was really an aha for me and a great reminder.
Totally relate to that. Because business today, there's a lot of people, businesses that have physical locations and they're struggling with this. How do I keep moving forward and so on. So I'm really glad that you took the virtual space, get people feeling comfortable with what you're doing, and then use the physical space another time for sure. Damon, thank you so much, man. You're a rock star on your own by yourself. Like Stephen, he sure doesn't talk like an SEO guy. I mean, he just
no, he doesn't.
Are so not. And I mean this is so complimentary, is that it's just so refreshing to see somebody that is actually like a real human being talk about something that's actually very mechanical in nature, and probably has a really bad rap out there. Let's put it that way. It's almost like suggesting, hey, I'm an attorney, I'm a mechanic.
I said, Damon, I said this to Peter the other day, and it's his fault we're running over now, Pete. I said this to Peter the other day, and when we were talking after the show, we always work out what's next week's show, and Peter goes, make one of those slide packs up about this, and he throws a word at me. Optimization, in the way I look at it, optimization is what most people treat optimization like a CV. They go to someone and get it to write it. They then send it in. Then they go to the interview and wonder why the person interviewing them picked them in 2 seconds, that you're not the person who wrote the CV. Optimization is your ability to tell the world what's key about you and put it on a website. You tell people to be truthful about who they are by being an example of it yourself.
Yeah.
And I know Justin would agree, and he could put all these models and numbers to it. Said respectfully, Justin.
There you go. So Damon, let me just throw it to you. I know you jumped in just to mention about Justin, but maybe an aha specifically that either through your conversation or maybe with one of the other guests.
Yeah, it was great to chat with everybody and good to meet Karen. And, I think that ask the questions of how I impact people personally and professionally is the starting point that will help me to amplify what I was looking at. Like, I'm not looking to change what I do or how I engage with people. I would just like to engage with more of those people that not only that I can help, but I enjoy working with, you know? And so I think that's getting me heading down the right path. And that's something I've been trying to figure out for a while.
Fantastic. Love that. Love that. And for me, Stephen, I mean, this whole group, I knew we had a really cool group today, but one of the things I just got from this is just this painful, it's almost painful. This raw honesty of saying, this is what I do, man. This is who I am. This is what I kind of stand for. Not even kind of. This is what I stand for. I heard it from Justin right away. Damon speaks that. Karen is all about her journey with happiness and creating a space to do that. And for us to claim it, I'm just going to be the first in line, and I hope there's other people out there that can back me up on this. But I struggle with that. I struggle with that, claiming my own space. And I think it was really refreshing to hear it in different verticals of business today, where everyone's saying, this is what I'm good at. Come to me for that. Other than that, you're on your own. So I just love it. It's just very, very refreshing that the balance between arrogance and confidence that I heard today. And there's no arrogance today. It was just all confidence. I loved it.
Yep.
Very, very super refreshing. Loved it. Now we go to my favorite part of the show. Right there we go. Boom.
Justin, you said embrace mindset. To me, the way you're a walking example of this, embrace mindset is the honesty of your truth that people crave. And you do it with such honesty that people crave it, even though you just come on and go, I'm a superhero. But people crave it because of the sincerity of how you put it across. Karen, fill your space as an example of listen to these words, Karen, of the abundant space others are ignoring in themselves. Be an example of the space within you, because every one of us has got it. It's called your soul and intent. Damon, care beyond toxic and focus on the care that is you, because it's the only way you to forgive, to give. And there's no forgiveness in the context of that. You might think, what am I forgiving, Steve? You need to help other people to forgive the fact and move on. And your example of it is beautiful. So care beyond toxic. Peter, raw honesty is believing you don't deserve it. And you know what? You don't. But you need to embrace it so you can get others to believe they have it too. So embrace your mindset, fill your space, care beyond toxic, use raw honesty because it's craved by everyone. The abundant space it needs to fill. Focus on caring so you can forgive to give. And you don't deserve it. Other people do, because your life's not about you.
Where's your mic, Peter?
Boom. Boom. That's a big boom. Let that sink in, everybody. Just for a second.
Hey, Peter, if you can't get the mic for your mic drop prop, you should get a cowbell.
I need more. Yeah, we all need more cowbell, don't we? We all need more cowbell. Stephen, that is beautiful. I want to leave it up for another couple seconds, everybody. Listen, all the guests we had here today, I can't thank you guys enough, and Karen and everybody for being here.
Thanks, man.
You guys are just all rock stars. Everybody here just brought it today, and so appreciate your time, and thank you for that. Damon's got to get on another call. Justin's got so many things to write about. It's not funny, so appreciate you being here. And Karen, go make the world happy, because man, we could use it. We could all use it. So thank everybody for joining us today. We super appreciate you guys. Oh man, what a show, Stephen. That was a great lineup of guests, and you were just rocking it, brother. You were just rocking it. So
I was trying to go fast.
Well, we just had some spectacular people. Listen, we always have spectacular people, so I just want to make sure no one hears anything different than that. That's the truth. We always have some great people here. So let me just jump down real quick to all these amazing people that are sending you comments and so on. Look at this. Tony Hall. This guy, I love this guy. Anyway, we'll talk about him another day. I love this guy. All about what others say about you, marketing gold. He has a company called See My Clients. Everybody, there's a little plug for See My Clients. This guy's a rock star storyteller.
Tony, come on and help us to create some insights to help everyone.
Tony loves philanthropy too. His heart is bigger than his heart is bigger than I can even imagine. It's crazy. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Absolutely true. Rashmi, I'm in. This is great. Thanks, Judy. Those Zara's still here. Appreciate that. Tony Hall, great. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that shout out here. Judy, here's my aha moment. Learn, forget the opinion, and forgive. Learn, forget the opinion, forgive. Love that, Judy. That's fantastic. Blame shrinks us. Love that line. That is so true. Walk your path.
Hey, Lori.
Thank you, Lori. Always appreciate seeing you here joining us as well. Rashmi, love this. She's always in there with lots of comments. It was so power-packed evening, wasn't it? I mean, seriously, this is so good. I must say, really enjoyed the show. And there you go. Look, you did it again, Stephen.
Thank you, Angela. How beautiful.
How do you not resonate with that? So, Stephen, man, that was another great show. I really appreciate it, Justin, Damon, and Karen for being on. I'm telling you, I'm walking away with that raw honesty stuff. I just love it. You mentioned it, packing it on as armor, and I love this balance of being really good at what you do and just owning it and then expressing it. That's what you've done in this show. So.
Yeah, and people give you the honor of giving up sleep. It's unbelievable. And they're not giving up sleep to watch me. They're giving up sleep to work out how they unlock them. And that's what this is about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Everybody who is on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, thank you to our great guests. Please look them up on LinkedIn and connect with them, reach out to them, comments about the show, anything. And if you're interested in being on the show, anything like that, please reach out to Stephen or myself here on LinkedIn, and we'll talk about it. Stephen, good to see you, my friend.
Thanks, bud.
Enjoy tomorrow.
I will. Be well and be brilliant, everyone.
See you, everybody.
Take care.